So guys, in today's video, I'm going to talk about a get-rich-quick scheme that actually exists. And this one does exist because I know many people who've done it, and I know many people are on the journey, and I myself are partaking in this. And the idea is to create a business. So today, what we're going to talk about is how anybody out there can create a side hustle, which becomes a business, which then makes them wealthy over a period of time. Now, if you like this sort of content, if you like talking about wealth creation, investing, all that sort of mindset stuff, please give this video a massive like. It really does help me out with the algorithm. I hope you enjoy this video because I'm going to go through everything in detail. I've done sums, which are going to appear on the screen. I'm going to be as transparent as I can, and I'm going to give you a real life example of somebody that I'm working with at the moment who has started this journey, and I'm going to preface it by telling you a little bit about that. So Volpix is run by a friend of mine called James. He started the business about 9 months ago, something like that, and it was a detailing company. He came out of the army. He didn't know what he wanted to do next. The army actually prepare you for life as a civilian, so they qualified him as an electrician, but he didn't enjoy it. It's not where his passion was. His passion was in cars, and in fact his passion, he really enjoyed detailing cars, and he did it on his spare time. So what we decided was it would be a really good idea to give it a couple of years and see if he could build a business around that. And what we did was we first of all identified the talent and idea, and this is the first thing on my board here. And towards the end of the video, I'll give you loads of ideas. I'll give you loads of talents that you might possess and how I would start that business, how I would scale it, how I would do the sums, how I would spin off a media company or something like that, evaluate scale, and make sure that you have the best possible chance to become successful. So what James did is he started the business part-time at the weekend. It made sense to. So what he was doing was basically selling two main products. The first one would be a paint correction and wax coating, called ceramic coating, which essentially protects the paint, and it's about £400 to £800 depending on the service. And the second one was a maintenance detail, which is basically thoroughly cleaning the interior and exterior of a car. It takes about 3 hours, something like that, and he was charging about £100 each time. So what we did first of all was just do some basic sums. Does the business work as a detailing company versus being an electrician? Well, we thought that we could sell about 10 £400 products fairly easily in a month, and about 20 £100 products in a month, which would mean we had a net income of about 6,000. And in the example we're going to run here, his costs were going to be his petrol and then all the products that he was going to use. He already owned the van, but if we were going to be more in detail, we would put down depreciation of the vehicle, we would put down all the marketing, all the other costs that you might have. But I want to make it really simple and use his example because he didn't really spend any money on marketing. He did that as he went along. So if we said his costs were about £700 to £1,000 a month, we know that there is the opportunity, fairly straightforward in our minds, to create a business that does £5,400 a month profit. And 9 months on, I can tell you right now, this month he's going to do about £6,000 profit. So we know that our sums were not that far off. But it did take a little bit longer than we first thought. So we've got the talent, we've got the idea, we then need to start, and that was the most important part for James, was to actually get started. Go around his local area, start marketing to people who could use his service. And he's used a handwritten note and put it in an envelope, put them under the windows of cars, put them indoors, all that sort of stuff, and he started to get some business. He also advertised on Google using Google AdWords, and he also created a nice website. There was lots of things that went on behind the scenes. But ultimately, he started getting business, and before long, his weekends were fully booked. So he still had a full-time job at this time, and it then made sense that he was making more part-time at the weekend than he was full-time on his job, so he quit his job. And at that point, he was able to really double down on it. And at this point, we span off a media company. So we started using social media a lot in order to promote the business. That was through TikTok, through Instagram Reels, and through YouTube Shorts. Now, in a very short space of time, about 3 to 6 months, he's managed to amass nearly 25,000 Instagram followers, 23,000 YouTube, and about 7,000 TikTokers. So quite a big following already, considering how short a space of time it is. And he's now generating ad revenue. So on YouTube alone, I think he's got about 23,000 subs, and he generated last month £500 in advertising revenue. Not to mention the fact that as a self-fulfilling prophecy, he's now getting jobs called in from all over the country where people are willing to pay a premium to see their favorite TikToker, their favorite YouTuber who does the product that they like, come and visit them and do their vehicle. So he's actually been able to push his margins even further. But what's really important with a business like this is that we do the maths and we understand that at scale, is it a business or is it just you operating as a sole trader? So what we did was we did some basic maths and we went, well, if you look at this and then you multiply it up and you've got a second person doing it, could you make a profit on the money? And the answer was yes. You know, if one person could bring in 6 to 10 grand a month, two people could bring in 12 to 20 grand a month, then there's a profitable business with all the costs outlined underneath. And this is called forecasting. The second thing we did was look at the media company and scale that. Now, we used some different figures because we were looking at my channel at the time, which had 5,000 subscribers, and I was getting on that month, I think it was about £300 advertising revenue. This month it's much, much lower, but you know, these things go up and down. If we looked at 20,000 and used his most recent example, £500, well, 100,000 subscribers would mean about £2.5 grand a month. 500,000 subscribers, £12,500 a month. 1 million subscribers, £25,000 a month of income. Now you start adding all of this together, you've got a very profitable business underlying. And what I will say to you is they're very low costs in this. He's pretty much done all of this on his phone. As simple as that, just doing it all on his phone. And my gut is he could probably scale that up to 100,000 all by himself. Then at that point, he'll probably need to bring someone on to help him manage it. But at the moment, it's a very profitable side of the business. This is much more manual. He's got to be there doing the work. But as he's doing the work, he might as well video it. So then at this point where we're starting to make money, and this is where I'm going to take you through the steps. Identify the idea, as we said first of all. Get started. I don't really mind if people don't have the perfect plan. I don't think that's a big issue because you find out so much more on the journey. Start taking the steps. Spinning off the media for James was key, and I think for a lot of people it will be key. And we'll go through some ideas where you could spin the media off. Evaluate your success, which is what we're doing at the moment with James. We're going, where are we? How do we get to the next step? Evaluate so that you can then reach scale. And this is what the big conversation with James is at the moment, is how only a year into this business, we can see this business making him millions. How do we scale it to that point? Do we double down on making sure that we have more people doing the detailing? He trains them. Do we use his social media presence to create maybe a training facility for detailers to come and meet him? For people who've got a passion about their car to come and meet him? Do we create a really premium product where people pay a big premium because of his personal brand? There's lots of ways we can take it to get to the scale or to make money out of it. And then the last thing I put down jokingly, bro down you're rich, because that never happens. And the reason I wrote it up there is because I think this is what a lot of people want as the end destination, but it just never is. There is always another mountain to climb. There's always another challenge to overcome. I guarantee that when he gets to this point, he'll be thinking, how do I get to 2 million, 3 million, 4 million? It's never gonna be, I'm content with that, because entrepreneurs generally love growth. I know I certainly do. So I promised you at the beginning of the video, we'd talk about some ideas that I think anybody could do. And I'm going to use James's business as a really good example because it's a detailing, it's manual, it's got some AMSR. People love to watch things that, you know, are dirty before. You do something to it, you clean, there's a payoff at the end of the video. So people like it, they get really hooked into that sort of content. So I'm gonna go with a similar idea for some ideas. So one of the things that I threw out was driveway cleaning, pressure washer driveways. I think you could probably charge between 50 and 300 pounds for a really big driveway. I think you could do several in a day. And I think again, set up correctly, you could get some really good media from that. You could do YouTube shorts, very Instagrammable, very TikTokable. Okay, you're probably not gonna have a training business on the side. I don't think there's gonna be a big enough market for people wanting to learn how to clean a driveway, for example, whereas with cars, there probably is. But there are other ways that you could do that. And going down the same theme, you could do bins. And I've seen recently that somebody was trying to sell me the cleaning of my bins. And I can imagine, you know, again, somebody liking the fact, oh, look how dirty that bin is. Oh, look how they made it really nice. End result, payoff, good social media company. And probably, although it's quite a dirty job, probably quite good returns on that if you get a good round going, right? Quite small money, but quite short spaces of time. Imagine doing a street where you charge a £5 a bin, you do 30 of them and the average time takes about 5 minutes. You'd be getting about 30 quid an hour. That's not a bad return on time. It's not great, but it's not bad. So there are lots and lots of ideas around that, but there's also ideas around talent. Maybe you're an exceptional guitar player and you want to start tutoring people. Again, imagine how much the biggest, wealthiest people would pay for their absolute favorite YouTuber who does guitar tutorials to come and teach their child. Imagine all the opportunities that would come from that if you built the social media side. Yo-yoing, again, I can't really see how you would go down this side of creating a practical product, but if you were the best yo-yoer in the world, I can certainly see a social media side to that that'd be very cheap to start, be very cheap to get going, and you'd be able to get social proof. You know, people would either like your videos or not of whether you're as good as you think you are. There's unlimited ideas I can come up with talent and idea where you could spin off a really successful social media site. That's how I would start. If I was starting again, if I was 25, nothing in the bank, had a job, I would spin off a company. I would do something on the side at the weekends, whatever that might be. I know, for example, Tom, my videographer, he's doing his YouTube channel on the side at the weekends. Also, he might pick up some jobs. Maybe somebody watching this video needs a videographer for next weekend. Drop us a comment. Tom's up for it. I tell you right now, he's smiling. He's telling you, you're up for it, aren't you?
Yes.
He's dry as f. Don't take him. But guys, I hope you've liked this video. I hope there's some good practical things in this. Identify the idea, get started really early, right? Do your sums, but get started. Spin off a media company, spin off something which you can scale. Evaluate, scale the business, and eventually, guys, you're gonna make it. Cheers, guys. I'll see you on the next video.